Hi, everyone. Showtime. It is Sunday, 2 o'clock Central Time, and I am Mary Gauthier, and we are with you live again for 50-something Sundays. We've been doing this since the pandemic, and we're doing it again today. It's March 28th. We're in Nashville, Tennessee today, where it's sunny and cool. And last night it rained in a biblical way. We are in the national news for flooding, particularly in the Brentwood area. There were 4 lives lost in the weather here last night, and the storm has been. It's just incredible how much rain came down last night. It kept coming and coming and coming, and our cell phone kept saying, warning, 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 flash flood, warning, warning. And you were getting phone calls about it, right? Mm-hmm. You signed up to
for something. Remember last year when we had the straight line wind thing?
Yeah, we had straight line winds.
How could you forget?
Yeah. Almost a year ago today, that took huge trees down all over our neighborhood. So after the straight line winds, you signed up for a please call me if there's a chance we're going to die number.
Gretchen Peters knows about all of those things. So I called her anxious about something, and she had a
hello, and what do they say?
There's like, warning.
Warning, warning, there is a flash flood warning.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, it came, and
it was effective.
And then it went, and the all of the little tributaries are still very high right now. As I went to the gym to swim this morning, I could see the water line. It was really high. And a lot of the homes that took water in the flood of 2010 took water again last night. So we're in a community that's struggling right now with quite a bit of flood damage. But we're somehow in a safe place, in a high place, and have a wonderful columnist, author with us today. Margaret Renkl's our guest. Michele Gazic is with us outside of Venice. Jaimee Harris is here with me as usual. And we're going to do a show and then go to the airport for the first time in a year for me. Get on a plane and fly to Austin, Texas. And Jaimee will start recording her next record tomorrow at noon in Austin, Texas. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah, exciting times. And I'll be there doing what? I don't know, moral support, taking pictures, working on manuscript at the hotel, being in Austin. And
red corn tortillas.
Yeah, man, Tex-Mex food, here we come.
36 hours away from red corn tortillas. It's very important.
I got a lot of friends there, and almost everybody's vaccinated. And those who are going to gather. And we'll get to see some folks for the first time in a long time, right? So
make up for all those holidays.
Yeah, it's going to be like going to a new airport, too. The Nashville airport's changed since the last time I was there. So there's a new Southwest terminal. The main terminal shut down. There's a north-south thing going on. So we're gonna be tourists at the Nashville airport apparently, and learn about it tonight. So play some songs and quit talking here. Thanks for joining us. Crescent City disappearing in the rearview mirror, just like she's always done. Spend my life running from the ghost of the Vocare and the dirty spillway waters in the noonday sun. Daughters of charity left their mark on me. keeping secrets, or it just makes you feel alone. Magazine Street stole from me. Lord, I never thought I'd find my way home. Thank God for you. I thank God for you. Wake up in the morning, I thank God for you. I thank God for you. Thank God for you. Wake up in the morning, I thank God for you. The junkie jonesing on a Greyhound bus with a 20-year ticket to a tortured mind. Sirens, sorrow, cigarette butts. My Jesus in pieces, broken as a highway line. I thank God for you. Thank God for you. Wake up in the morning, I thank God for you. I truly do. Thank God for you. Thank God for you. Wake up in the morning, I thank God for you. You all gave me something no one can take away. You saw right through me, but love me anyway. Thank God for you. Thank God for you. Wake up in the morning, I thank God for you. Thank God for you. Thank God for you. Wake up in the morning, I thank God for you. Thank God for you. You know, when I sing that word God, for some reason my grandmother's voice comes through.
Really?
Yeah, have you noticed the way I pronounce it?
G-A-W-D?
G-A-W-D.
Yeah.
G-A-W-D. God. Yeah. Yeah, that's how she said it. And for some reason, every time I sing it, that's what comes through. Even though it's a song about adoption, and I was adopted by an Italian family in South Louisiana with a French name. It's complicated and very American, but I have a lot of the mannerisms of my adoptive family, and one of them is God, G-A-W-D. Anyway, let's play a couple of songs from the Rifles and Rosary Beads record. My guest today, I'm so excited and honored to have her with us, is the author and columnist Margaret Renkl, who kicked off the release of the Rifles and Rosary Bead record for me, 2018, with a beautiful essay in the New York Times about the work I was doing with songwriting with soldiers and veterans. It was the first national press on the record. and to dedicate a whole column to it was an incredible gesture of generosity, and it really got the ball rolling for us. And I think it shined the light of love and luck on that project, because that project kept us on the road. I mean, on the road for 3 years, and we'd have had our busiest year ever in 2020 if we didn't have a pandemic. We were booked to hell and back, as they would say.
It's kind of difficult to imagine now.
I know. I know. Just getting together to go to Austin and be in the same hotel for 8 days. We've run around the house 2 days packing. How do we do what we did? I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll play a couple songs from that record, though, and this was written with a female flight instructor, Marine, named Jennifer Marino, who was a combat pilot, went on to be a flight instructor, and as I was given the chance to write with her, she explained to me that some of what drives her and what makes her motivated to keep being of service is the struggle so many of her fellow veterans have with suicide ideation and suicidality. And she said when we wrote that that veterans are trained to keep their feelings to a minimum. That's what makes you a good soldier. And when you come home, you have to undo that without any help. You got to figure out the undo yourself. And so this is a song about that. It's called Soldiering On, written with a female combat pilot, Jen Marino. I was bound to something bigger, more important than a single human life. I wore the uniform with honor, and my service was not a sacrifice. And what saves you in the battle can kill you at home. A soldier soldiering on. You don't fight for yourself, you fight for the ones by your side. And they do the same for you. To live, you must be willing to die. Battle can kill you at home. A soldier soldiering on. Oh, suck it up, shut it down. It don't matter how you feel. Mission first, just drive on. A soldier is a cog inside a wheel. Up or down, all for one. The closest family I have known. A soldier soldiering on. I was bound to something bigger and more important than a single human life. I wore my uniform with honor. My service was not a sacrifice. But what saved you in the battle to kill you at home? A soldier, soldier on. I'm a soldier, soldier on. Nice, Jaimee. Love the singing and the playing there. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
We'll play one more from the Rifles and Rosary Beads record, and then bring on our guest, Margaret Renkl, to read from either her current book that's available everywhere or the one that's coming out soon. So why don't we play the song written with the wives?
Sure, which one?
I love singing that with you in tandem.
Oh.
The War After the War.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, so I was asked to work with a group of military spouses and co-write a song with 6 wives. And what we came up with is a song called The War After the War, because as the women spoke and described their lives to me, what I realized is that they all had this in common, that they're dealing with the war after their husbands come home from the war. And it doesn't just end the way they hoped it would. And so this is a collective story, I think, and it certainly doesn't pertain to any particular war or branch of the military. I think what I learned, overarching lesson of writing with veterans for 6 or 7 years, is that these problems are as ancient as war itself. The technology changes, the way wars are fought change, but the trauma stays the same, and the impact on the family stays the same. And so
That's why the Shakespeare thing is so effective too, right?
yeah,
Programs that-
right. We know of programs that help veterans by using lines from Shakespeare, actually. They put a vet on the stage and have them recite lines from Shakespeare and until they mean it. And once they are able to articulate it in a way that they really mean it, it hits them that what they're going through is not unique to them. It's thousands of years of soldiers going through the exact same thing. And if we could only outgrow the violence. But this is The War After the War, written with the wives. Who's gonna care for the ones who care for the ones who went to war? There's landmines in the living room, eggshells on the floor. Lost myself in the shadow of your honor and your pain. You stare out of the window as our dreams go down the drain. Invisible. War after the war. I get no basic training, I get no Purple Heart. I am supposed to carry on, I can't fall apart. We People look at you and thank you for the sacrifice you made. They look at me and smile, say I'm lucky, you're okay. Invisible, the war after the war. But I'm a soldier too, just like you, serving something bigger than myself. I serve unseen, caught in between my pain and the pain of someone else. But I'm stronger than you think I am. I'm right here by your side. I am not your enemy. I don't wanna fight. There's no going back in time. I know you're not the same. You are not the only one for whom the world has changed. Invisible, the war after the war. Invisible, war after the war. Yes. Yes, the feeling of being invisible. That is a universal for the spouses of those who've served. So I think we should bring Margaret in. It's so interesting. We have people coming in from all over the world, but you're my neighbor.
Just down the street. Yeah.
How'd y'all weather the storm last night?
We're on high ground. So I've kind of, maybe this is, I'm knocking wood right now, but we didn't get water in 2010, so I felt we were okay last night. But let's talk about the war after the war. I know there's so many traumatized people in Nashville last night who didn't get a week of sleep because they were reliving that whole thing.
And their houses were flooding again. So many of the same houses are still in the same floodplains, and it happened again. And they call it a 500-year event. But in my estimation, 2010 was 10 years ago, 11 years ago.
Well, that's the thing about climate change is that we're going to start getting those 100-year, 500-year events a lot more regularly now. I mean, the weather's just crazy.
Well, speaking of that, I just need to go directly into this.
Okay.
This is, I think, a masterpiece. I devoured your book, Margaret. I love this book so much, and it's called Late Migrations, and it talks about the natural world, and it talks about family, and they're interweaved and intertwined until they become one and the same. And it seems like a magic trick that you performed there. It was in the end a master stroke. Did you know that was what was going to happen, or how did that? It was, as I was going along, I'm like, I see what's happening here, and I can't believe it. It's really working. It's beautiful.
Well, you know how I knew it was working? It's when 30 seconds ago I heard you say it worked. I mean, you just don't know, do you? I mean, you're doing your best, but it's just impossible to know how somebody's going to read it. And I just thought I'm going to have to trust my readers. I'm going to have to trust that people are going to make sense of this, because it is a little strange, the two different threads, and trying to weave them together and then having them blend together. And then what does it all add up to? There's a lot of room for people to bring their own experiences to this book, I hope.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And I don't want to characterize it in any singular way, but for me, it really pushed on the buttons of mortality and the buttons of temporary. Everything is temporary, some things more than others. and we seem to be speeding up the lifespan of other things, making them ever more temporary. And your relationship with an understanding of the natural world and your ability to name everything is really, really impressive. I guess that started in your childhood, from what
Well,
I
I
read in
know
the book.
yeah, I did know some the common names, the names of flowers and birds that my family knew, but I do have to look stuff up. It's not instinctive because I don't have a scientist's mind, and so I have to. I mean, the spring ephemerals come out this time of year every year, and every year I go, wait, is that henbit or is that purple dead nettle? I don't know which one it is. I have to really think about it. So no, I don't think it's a natural thing, but I'm curious about it. So it's fun to learn.
Well, I'm going to make a confession here. As a songwriter, henbit and purple what?
Dead nettle.
Purple
Hen-
dead nettle. This is Dylan-esque in its
How
precision.
could you not love the names? Right now, there's a form of trillium blooming in the woods that's called toadshade. And I just love that word. The idea that the leaves make a little umbrella for the toads. Isn't that wonderful? They all have these amazing names because they were named by mountain people and country people who were just looking at their attributes and then coming up with the right thing to call them.
Wow. Well, my last week, I think, was it last week that we had Ben Glover on?
Yeah.
One of my favorite co-writers that I've written more songs with than anybody on earth. And we've spent time poring over your column in the New York Times, columns for these names, because they just come right off the page and can land in a song, and they help describe more than just the thing that's named. They're bigger. I guess maybe that's because what you say, they were named by people who were trying to name them from their experience, not just a scientist, but a person who was experiencing the land and the nature.
Well, a true scientist is careful to know the botanical name, because there are so many different varieties of closely related plants, but I just can't bring myself to do that. The names that stick in my mind are the grandmother names,
I keep thinking rat snake.
You probably have one in your yard. I love them.
Is it brown with diamond-shaped pattern on its back?
They come in several varieties. There's a gray rat snake and a black rat snake and a yellow rat snake. And even within those particular color families, there is a lot of variation. But they're harmless to human beings. They're very shy, and they would much prefer to flee. They're not going to bite you unless you try to pick one up. But they have a role to play in the backyard ecosystem. We have a lovely one here.
You write about it so beautifully. And the blue jays. I could talk to you forever about your book, but I think we would be best served to have you do a little reading.
I would love to. I'm honored to be here. I have, as Mary said, the book is very all the essays are tiny, little short essays, and they some of them barely longer than a paragraph, some hardly more than a sentence or two, but they work together to tell the story of my childhood in Lower Alabama, and the way that childhood was so deeply intertwined with the natural world. I'm 59. I'm going to be 60 this year, and in the time when I was growing up, when I was very small, I can't remember when we got our first air conditioner, but I remember those days when there was no air conditioner. The doors were open, the windows were open, you smelled the storms coming in, you felt the grit of the dust in your teeth, you heard the birds singing from the earliest dawn until after dusk. And so the story of my childhood is also the story of the natural world in the American South. So I thought I'd start with just some little short pieces from my babyhood. This first one I'm going to read is called "The Way You Looked at Me." Lower Alabama, 1961. Here are all my kin, my mother and my father, my grandmother and my grandfather, my great-grandmother in the placid wholeness of her white halo, arrayed around me. Born too early, tiny and frail, I am sleeping in every picture, and in every picture they are gathered around me, heads bent to watch me take each too light breath, willing my lips not to turn blue again. I am too small and always cold, but my people are looking at me as if I were the sun. My parents and my grandparents and my great-grandmother, all of them have gathered to watch over me. They are looking at me as if I were the sun, as if they had been cold every day of their lives until now. I am the sun, but they are not the planets. They are the universe. And then this next one I'm going to read is also very short, but you start to see the natural world coming in. I'm not a baby anymore. I'm a toddler here. This one is called "In the Storm, Safe from the Storm." Lower Alabama, 1965. At my grandparents' house in the country, we live on the front porch where the ceiling fan blows the bugs away and stirs the steaming air into something passing for a breeze. At home in town, we are very modern and have no porch at all. There's a concrete stoop, but only the barest overhang to cover it, hardly anything to keep away the rain or the blistering sun. When a storm comes, my father sets his chair right in the doorway, straddling the jamb. I love the storms. If I'm asleep, he lifts me up and carries me through the dark house to sit with him in the doorway and listen to the wind and the thunder. The rain comes and I feel it with the tips of my toes, but they are the only parts of me that get wet, for I have drawn my knees up to my chest under my nightgown, and my father has unbuttoned his corduroy jacket and pulled it around me and wrapped his arms around me too. I lean into him. I feel the heat from his body and the cool rain from the world, both at once. And then the next one I'm going to read introduces my baby brother, who's really only a year younger than I am. I don't know why I keep calling him my baby brother. But this one's called Creek Walk, Birmingham, 1969. The rocks are gray slate, massive slabs cantilevered over the water, as though the outstretched feathers of a great prehistoric bird had been caught in stone. My brother and I are barefoot, picking our way across the rock. We are always barefoot. The pads of our feet are thick, toughened by concrete and asphalt and gravel roads. And anyway, shoes would be useless on this slick rock. Worse than useless. We have not discussed a plan, and so we are making our way to the creek with no real intention. We are thinking of nothing. Or perhaps we are wondering if we will see another rattlesnake. Seeing any snake would be a cause for remark, but we have only once seen a rattlesnake. Mainly, we will turn over rocks on the bank of the creek, looking for worms and roly-polies. We aren't fishing. No one has taken us fishing. We're not the kind of children who would enjoy fishing, but we know we can summon fish by tossing worms into the water. And we like to feel the fish mouthing the freckles on our legs. Sometimes there are salamanders on the bank. Sometimes there are tadpoles in the foamy water at the edges of the backwash. Sometimes there are crawdads under the rocks that jut into the water. Always there are dragonflies, blue and bottle green and scarlet red, hovering over the flashing water. Always there are jays scolding from the dark pines. We see them and we don't see them. We hear them and we never register their sound. The mud and the moving water smell vaguely of decay, but the smell does not disturb us or inspire the first curiosity. We've never even noted it. These are our sights and our sounds and our smells, as casual to us as the smell of our own breath in our cupped hands, as the sound of our own blood in our ears, as we lie down on the biggest rock and hang our heads over the edge to dangle tickle tails in the water, tricking the fish into rising. We pick our way back toward the bank we will climb to start heading home. Clouds of minnows race from our feet. Clouds of grasshoppers rise from the timothy grass above the rocks. Clouds of gnats hover above the water, part for our small bodies and coalesce again behind us. We climb out and sit together on the slanted rock to wait for our feet to dry in the hot sun. At home, it is almost time for supper, but we can't tell time. And the last one I'm going to read right now, just to bring us even closer to the natural world, is called Be a Weed. Sometimes when I haven't slept, or the news of the world, already bad, suddenly becomes much worse, the weight of belonging here is a heaviness I can't shake. But then I think of the glister of a particular morning in springtime. I think of standing in the sunshine and watering the butterfly garden, which is mostly cultivated weeds punctuated by the uncultivated kind that come back despite my pinching and tugging. I think of the caterpillars on the milkweed plants, unperturbed by the overspray, and the resident red-tailed hawk gliding overhead, chased by a mockingbird and 3 angry crows, and the bluebird standing on top of the nest box, protecting his mate, who is inside laying an egg. I think of that morning, not even a morning, not even an hour, and I say to myself, be an egg, be a mockingbird, be a weed. Thanks, y'all.
Oh, that's so great. I feel like a little kid, like it's story time. The length of these, would you call them essays?
I think it's a stretch to call them essays, but I don't know what else to call them.
The short essays. It makes it easy to read the book. I wonder if there's something that's happened to our attention span. I think this may be a new way of writing that really resonates, because I could plow through your book confidently and not feel overwhelmed, because the length is something I could consume.
Well, I didn't think of that. I wrote them. They're so short because I was writing them at a really busy and overwhelming time of my life. And I just wrote what I had time to write. But But I hadn't thought of that. But I do, as a reader, feel that way about short chapters in a book.
Yeah.
I'm reading along and I'm tired. And then I see that the next chapter is only a page and a half long. I think I
Keep
can
going.
do that. And then it kind of tricks me into keeping on going. Yeah.
Vignettes. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what to call it except for beautiful. And your brother, did he am I correct in did I read that he did the illustrations?
He did. He did. He's an artist. He's been an artist since he was tiny. He teaches art at Austin Peay State University up in Clarksville, Tennessee. But he has he has a gallery affiliation also, and he's very he's very busy. But he made time to do all these. I think 21 original pieces of art for this book because it is a story of his childhood and his parents, and as much as it is mine.
It's an absolutely beautiful book, and I think your paperback edition is it coming out on Tuesday, or is it
Coming out on Tuesday? Yeah, I think you can get it in a lot of places. I think independent bookstores are selling it already. I signed a bunch of them over at Parnassus here in Nashville, and they ship. If you want a signed copy, they'll be glad to send you one.
Yeah, I checked on that. Parnassus Bookstore in Nashville, Tennessee, has signed copies of the paperback edition of Margaret's current book. And I couldn't recommend it more highly. I just love it.
I think it's a tourist destination. Once we start having a tourist industry again, people come into town, people come to hear music, and then they go to Parnassus Books. Yeah.
Well, it's a city of songwriters, but also authors, Ann Patchett's our neighbor up the street. Her husband, Carl, has been my doctor until he retired during the pandemic for 20 years. I take pride in the fact that there's authors of stature all around. Allison Moore lives up the street. Rodney Crowell's a couple of miles away, and there's songwriters who've written books, and there's just great writing in this town.
There's a lot of cross-pollination, a lot more than there used to be, because you're seeing more like your book. You're writing, you have a book and you have records, and I'm sure, I think as that cross-pollination happens more and more, I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Will there be more music in non-songwriters' books? Will there be more books from songwriters? I think either one or both would be wonderful.
Oh, I love it. I love being in a creative environment. It inspires me to create.
Sure.
And you have been inspirational for me since I met you at the Southern Festival of Books all those years ago.
Yeah, that we were both at Odie Lindsay's reading. I know Odie's been a guest on your show.
Odie's been a
too.
guest. Yep. Yeah.
And I just love his work. And I remember you were sitting on the front row asking this incredibly insightful question, and I was determined to catch up with you and find out who was asking these questions. And then when you told me your name, I thought, oh my God, I have loved your work for so long, but I was only seeing the back of your head, so I didn't know who was asking that question.
Oh, to think, look at this full circle, how it's come, how we've, that was a lot of years ago. I don't know how many, I can't even speculate, more than 10. No, not, because it's more like,
it was when Odie's first book came out, the short story collection. So maybe more like 7 or 8.
7 or 8, yeah. Time has gotten harder.
Yeah, it sure has.
Gosh. Well, we're going to have you back to read some more in just a little bit, and we're gonna ask you some more questions about what you're working on now, and talk about working for the New York Times and coming up with a weekly column with which I'm still in awe of. That you could do that every week. It blows my mind. So we got a lot more to talk about.
Great.
So we'll see you in a few minutes.
Okay.
Thank you. And in addition to us heading to Austin for Jaimee to make a new record starting tomorrow morning, she put out a record over the last 2 weeks or so.
March 5th.
Yeah, describe it for everyone in case they don't know about it, because it's a beautiful, beautiful.
Oh, thanks. Well, I took 7 songs from my debut record, Red Rescue, and re-recorded them essentially live at the Congress House studio. It was me and 2 harmony singers, both of which were roommates of mine. So we actually sat around the kitchen table or like in the backyard singing these songs. And they'd been in my band for many years, and we added a piano player on some songs. My longtime guitar player, Brian, who I met in church. He was like, we met in Hewitt, Texas at church. And then Ray Bonneville, great songwriter, groove master, harmonica player, stopped in to have lunch and played harmonica on the track. So everything was like very organic. We did it in 2 days, and I'm super proud of.
Yeah,
of what
people
happened.
really, really like this record. It's called
The Congress
Congress House
Sessions.
Sessions.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a beautiful piece of work. And your friend Scylla did the
Sela, yeah, did the artwork.
artwork. Jaimee has a lot of good friends that are all artists, and she brings them into her art and is really good at that. You're a community person. I would describe you as a community person.
Yeah.
And so you engage your community, like your T-shirts, for example, designed by other songwriters.
Yeah,
and-
everything in my merch store is designed by other musicians
Yeah.
or songwriters.
Yeah. So the Congress House Sessions are available everywhere, including your website.
That's right.
And you're going back to Congress House to start recording brand new songs, brand new record tomorrow. But would you play one from the current
Sure.
Congress House Sessions record?
Oh, okay.
Or whatever you
I
want
was,
to play.
I was gonna play something different, but
Oh, I thought you said, did you say Love's Gonna Come Again? Oh, that's a new song that you're going to be cutting this
that's
week.
okay. No worries. You confuse it with Catch It Now, probably.
I
Similar.
confused it with Catch It Now. Has
can
that happened
see-
before?
No, but I could see where your train of thought was going.
That's what she reads.
But
she
thank
re-
you. I'm
she
happy
reads
to
my
talk
mind
about.
now.
I'm
Yeah.
happy to talk about the EP.
Yeah.
It is definitely the bridge that I think helped me decide to work with Mark for from the ground up for this next record.
It makes sense. That was
Feels good to
such a
go back
successful project that going back there just makes sense, and I'm excited for you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming with me.
Yeah, can I play lead guitar?
Okay, sure. Yeah. You'll have to take that up with Mr. Hallman.
Can I play piano? I want to be the singer. Yeah.
We can make it work. I think you are gonna sing. I think I'm gonna figure out a way for you.
If there's room for a Salvation Army choir that's a little pitchy, I'm in.
I think.
This is a new song.
Love is gonna come again. Maybe when you're not quite looking. Maybe tonight, my friend. Maybe when you're driving, love will call and you will fall into a place you never thought you could fit in. Love is gonna come again. No, you don't believe me yet. Stuck inside your head, wondering what you could have said. In that bed, love will find you and remind you of the things you thought you'd give up feeling. Love is gonna come again. I know it hurts like hell right now, and only you know how. No one can tell you when. Oh, but love is gonna come again. Lying in your sheets alone, hiding from your telephone as it echoes through your empty home. No way of knowing if you'll have anything close to what you had then. Love is gonna come
Joy will find its way to you. Maybe it'll come with the morning dew, right where those flowers grew. And butterflies flew, and on their wings they always bring the kind of peace to ease your grieving. Love is gonna come again. Oh, love is gonna come again.
It's such a good song.
Thanks. Oh, I should say written with my friend Graham Weber.
Written with Graham
Yeah,
Weber.
gotta give Graham the credit.
So is it hard for you not to sort of envision how you want that to be produced? Are you thinking about such things?
You know, that's a good question. Actually,
Are you
I
leave
have
it up to
zero-
the producer and let
yeah.
him?
You know, so the last time I made a record, I mean, I've been playing for 18 years without ever putting out a record, which is kind of insane. And I played the songs on Red Rescue like so many times with a band or with like a trio or in a bunch of different formations. And so I did kind of have like a pretty intense worked out idea of how I wanted pretty much all of those songs to go. And with every single one of these songs, I'm not emotionally attached to how I hear them
Because you haven't played them with a band.
because I haven't played them with a band. And if anything, like, you know, so many of these songs I've realized came about because I don't know, I feel like I got stronger playing the guitar. Like I'm singing out more than I did on the other previous songs that I've written. And so I kind of just feel like we're going to do with what Patty Griffin did with 1,000 Kisses, which is like record my vocal and my guitar and then figure out what needs to be around it. And so I feel like really excited about going on that adventure with Mark and not having any...
Not pre-thinking it. That's good.
Exactly, yeah.
That's
Being
good. You know,
open to it, I think is really
think-
emotionally good for me. So I'm not like...
Stay open. Yeah. One of my pet peeves is when I'm co-writing with somebody and we're not even into the frickin' second verse and they start talking about how the song is going to be produced. That makes me insane.
It makes me nuts too. Yeah.
It makes me anxious because if you're producing it before we even write it, it makes me nervous for some reason. It's just too far in the future for me. Like I don't even know if this song is going to be worthy of being produced, much less let's produce it while we write. So that's
funny.
interesting.
I do feel like there's some songs where maybe because I have like a harmony singer brain, where sometimes I do hear harmonies that feel like they're born with the song, you know, like before.
Because you're a harmony singer.
Yeah, or like even like with, you know, the fair and dark haired lad, I know I want a really gravelly voice on there. That's the only request I have for the whole record is a really gravelly Greg Brown type voice on that song.
I
That's
bet
the
you
only.
could find one in Austin. I bet you
I
can.
bet we could.
I'm going to play the song inspired by Odie's book, Some Go Home. Our friend Odie Lindsay. Highway 90 westbound in the falling dark, rolling past cornfields, catfish farms and swamps, a Pascagoula sunset, a longing breaking through. I don't know why I'm always leaving. I don't know why I left you. Won't you meet me in the meadow? We can look up at the stars, lean into the wind, dream again, find out who we are. Won't you meet me in the meadow? No more so much to tell you. Babe, I'm ready to come clean. I'm so tired of running from things I cannot leave. You and me in Mississippi, battled, beautiful and scarred, in need of forgiveness and the awful grace of God. Won't you meet me in the meadow? We can look up at the stars. We could lean into the wind, dream again, find out who we are. Won't you meet me in the meadow? No more alone. We could lay down in the grass till the feelings pass, then go home. Let's lay down in the grass till the feelings pass, then go home. That always brings me back to
Pitchland, Mississippi.
Pitchland, Mississippi.
Strawberry Queen.
The Strawberry Queen, Colleen, U.S. Army, Strawberry Queen. Oh my God, I can't wait to see what he comes up with next.
Can't you see that? That's going to be a movie.
That's gotta be a movie.
That's what Donna Tartt thought too, so who knows?
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know
what
what's going to
Donna
be a
Tartt
movie or
thought.
not.
Secret History should have been a movie a long time ago. Confederacy of Dunces should have been a movie a long. Movies are a lot more complicated than making a record or writing a book, apparently. So many people involved. It's amazing that a good one's ever made, to be honest. It's got to be done by committee, and that is real hard. Mm-hmm. Let's go to Italy and see how the maestro is holding up. Hello, my friend.
Welcome to Italy.
It makes me laugh every week.
It makes me laugh every week for 50 weeks.
Yes, yeah.
And your shirt is fabulous.
Yes.
Italian.
Yes, and I pretend to be on stage, but I am not. So I am wearing my stage shirt. So I remember at the beginning of this thing 1 year ago, I was keeping it more quiet with a dark T-shirt, and then I decided, no, this is my stage right now. So I wear my concert stage in the end. So,
What have you got for us this week, Maestro?
This week, maybe you remember that last week I was playing Ride On, a song connected with Christy Moore on my viola. And I remember that in the audience there were questions about this song, who is the real author of the song, who really wrote the song. And so I went on this week deeper studying the song. So, and I have also a book here written by Christy Moore that actually I suggest.
I have that book. I do. I have that book, but I am embarrassed to say it's on my bedside, but I have not read it.
But it's a great book because it's called My Life in Songs, and Christy Moore is also talking about songs that he really loved, about many songs. So it's really interesting. So he doesn't really solve the mystery behind this song, but there is an interesting story And Christy Moore, like every songwriter, is also a great storyteller. So I tell you the story. That is a story that happened after the song was written. So Christy Moore is writing, Ride On has been one of my most popular songs, and it has been recorded by many singers. Many people wonder what it's about, but Jimmy McCarthy keeps that to himself. Jimmy McCarthy is the writer of the song. All we need to know is what it means to us individually. I have lived every word and line of this song, sometimes in more ways than one. My thanks to Jimmy for offering me the first ride. Then, after other words about the recording process that you can read in the book, in the end, Christy Moore tells this story called Bess and Susie. I got to know them, Bess and Susie, when I played Half Moon in Putney. Bess worked with the Sound Hire Company. Him and Susie would sit side stage and drink in the music. They loved the gig and never needed to tell me, for it showed. They were a beautiful couple. A year passed and I was booked to play in Luton. It was a horrible cold winter's night and we had trouble finding the venue. It turned out to be a series of Nissan huts, old and cold and unwelcoming. I entered the hall and straight away spotted Bess setting up equipment on the stage. Even at a distance, I could see his pain and loss. He told me that Susie was dead, cut down by a motorist who owned the road. The life was gone out of Bess, too. Another year on, and I was in my dressing room at the Royal Festival Hall in London. I got a letter from Beth's mother, which read, Beth finally went and joined his loved one. When we found him, Ride On was still spinning on his turntable. It was always their favorite song. All the family are in the audience tonight, and we'd love to hear you sing it to their memory, just for Beth and Susie. And I always will. So, this is the story. And if there is time, Mary, Jaimee, I can perform the song on the piano tonight.
Of course.
All right, so I do it. A different version because Christy Moore is always playing this song on guitar and vocal. So it's I'm trying a piano version. Through your eye, the finest horse I've never seen, standing 61 or 2, with eyes wild and green. You ride the horse so well, hands light to the touch. I could never go with you, no matter how I wanted to. Ride on, see you. I could never go with you, no matter how I wanted to. Ride on, could never go with you, no matter how I wanted to. When you ride into the night without a trace behind, run your claw along my gut one last time. I turn the face, an empty space where once I used to lie, and look for a spark that lights the night through a teardrop in my eye. I don't see you. I could never go with you, no matter how I wanted to. I don't see you. I could never go with you, no matter how I wanted to. I hope you liked it.
Gorgeous.
It was because I kept thinking about this song the whole week, and so I was thinking this Sunday to bring all our friends to my office. I'm still thinking about this since last Sunday. It's such an intense song, and the mystery is still not solved. But there is this story that I found that was really something.
Yeah, it is some kind of deep truth that there's no words for. You can only feel it, which is
Yeah,
why we do
that's
art.
true. Yes,
Yeah,
the mystery of in songwriting.
You did it beautifully, Maestro.
Thank you. And before saying hello, I say that I can't wait to listen to the new Jimmy Harris album. So I can't wait for this. I love the Congress House session. I love the stripped down version of your songs, and so I really can't wait for the next album. And if you want a violin shipped from Italy, I'm ready.
Oh, yes.
Viola too,
Yes, and viola too.
guaranteed to be played in a really incredibly beautiful Italian shirt.
Obviously.
The shirt needs its own album credits. actually.
That shirt needs its own album cover. I know.
Yeah, that's important for the sound.
Thank you, Michele.
Thank you, my friends.
We
Ciao.
love you.
We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Let's go back up the street and bring Margaret back in. Hi.
Gosh, that was beautiful.
I know. It's an Italian violin player singing an Irishman's signature song, and then here we are in Nashville. We're a global village in art, isn't it something?
It's beautiful.
What you gonna read for us next?
Well, I thought I would read something from the book that's won't be out. It won't be out until September, but it's available for pre-order now. It's actually a collection. This one's called Graceland at Last, and it's that Graceland. It's I'll get to that in a second, but I will mention that it includes the article I wrote about you. After War, 3 Chords and the Truth. It's the book. It's not it's really a selection of columns from the New York Times. These are the ones that are specifically about the South, more so than about just the random other things I sometimes write about. I hope it presents kind of a version of the South that's a lot more complicated and nuanced than most people from outside this place seem to understand that we are. What a multiplicity of cultures and ideas and people we have down here. But I'm not going to read that one because you've already linked to it all over the place. So I'll read the title essay about my visit to Graceland, and it's called Graceland at Last. For reasons I cannot explain, some part of me needed to go there. And it ran originally on January 6th, 2018. In 1986, Paul Simon released his 7th solo album, Graceland. 1 year later, my fiance and I moved to Nashville. He was driving my father's secondhand panel van with the fake wood-grained wraparound made of shelf liner that masked the previous owner's business logo. Attached to the van was a trailer too heavy for the hitch. I was driving the exploding Pinto, a nickname derived from that ancient model's fuel tank fires, and on top of the Pinto were several 100 pounds of books provisionally contained in a homemade roof rack made of 2x4s. Between South Carolina, where we had just finished graduate school, and Tennessee, where we would start our new teaching jobs, lay the Appalachian Mountains. Getting over them in one piece would be the first real test of our lives as fully employed adults. Top heavy and buffeted by winds, the chugging old Pinto struggled. My traveling companion, a cat who badly needed to pee but refused to use the litter box on the back seat, was perched on my headrest, her claws gripping my head as 18-wheelers barreled around us in the dark. In the cassette player on the passenger seat, Paul Simon was singing Graceland. It was not too much to say that Graceland got me safely over Monteagle Mountain when I was in danger of going over the edge. I grew up in a house without a stereo, and my parents' car radio was always tuned to big band music, so my formative years were in no way informed by Elvis Presley. But you hear cheerful music just as you're thinking you might truly die, and you form a kind of bond with it. Driving over Monteagle Mountain with a cat latched to my head, I vowed to see Graceland someday. How lucky to be moving to the very state where Graceland could be found. Decades passed and we still hadn't made it. We once went to a conference in Memphis, but 3 hours after we checked in, we got word of a death in the family, and so we got back in the car and headed home. Our babies, who were worse traveling companions than the cat, kept road trips confined to far-flung family reunions. In 2010, when our oldest son chose a college in Memphis, I thought I would surely see Graceland at last. We packed up our 2 younger sons, then 14 and 12, and made a vacation of the college's family weekend. We toured the Stax Museum of American Soul Music, took a walk along the Mississippi River, visited the ducks in the fountain at the Peabody Hotel, ate ribs at the Rendezvous, and peeked into blues joints on Beale Street. What we did not do was visit Graceland. Halfway through our tour, the kids rebelled. They did not want to pay homage to Dr. King at the National Civil Rights Museum. They did not want to visit Sun Records. Most of all, they did not want to visit Graceland. It'll be fun, I said. There's a jungle room. They said they'd rather go back to their brother's dorm and shoot each other with the Nerf guns they'd packed in lieu of clean underwear. By the time we dropped them at the college, there wasn't time to make it to Graceland before closing, so my husband and I sat outside in the hotel hot tub and drank a bottle of wine out of plastic cups and looked at the gray Memphis skyline. How sharper than a serpent's tooth it is to have a thankless child who won't even go to Graceland with you. Fast forward another 7 years. Our oldest son, who had transferred to another school after only a semester, was all grown up. The middle boy was in college and the youngest was almost on his way. We were hosting an Australian exchange student, a teenage boy who loved American music. One day my husband said, "I wonder if the guys would like to go to Memphis." Unbelievably, they were game. And this time I didn't make the same mistake. First stop, Graceland. It was not at all what I'd envisioned. Outside on a rainy Sunday in January, the crowd control stanchions were entirely unnecessary, the massive parking lot nearly empty. In 30 years of waiting, had I inflated Graceland in my own mind? Had I read too much spiritual significance into its name, expecting some sort of blessing? Then, like Alice through the looking glass, I stepped through a door, still bearing a desiccated Christmas wreath, and that's when everything got awesome. Graceland's formal rooms are all white carpet and gold trimmings and mirrors, walls and walls of mirrors. With its hide-covered furniture and lamps hanging from chains and vines draping a stone wall, the jungle room did not disappoint, but downstairs was the real action. A room with 3 televisions embedded in the walls, a sectional sofa with sequin-bedecked pillows, and a mirror-topped coffee table bearing a bizarre porcelain creature of indeterminate origin gazing toward the door. A billiard room with walls and ceiling entirely covered in upholstered in pleated fabric that might have been fashioned by a seamstress on mushrooms. By today's measure of lavish wealth, Elvis's mansion would be dwarfed by any family home in an upscale suburb. But to a girl of the 70s who grew up poor enough for contact paper to seem like a reasonable way to embellish a used van, it was perfect. Walking past all those mirrors, I kept catching glimpses of myself, grinning. Somehow it felt like more than checking off an item on a bucket list. Maybe it had something to do with a dawning sense that I was moving past the delayed gratifications of motherhood, past the time of putting off what I wanted to do. Or maybe it had something to do with coming full circle, of making a vow just as our marriage was beginning and finally seeing it through just as we were on the verge of being alone again. Mirror after mirror, there I was, right in the heart of Graceland, smiling and smiling and smiling. So that's Graceland at last.
Wow.
Again, that's a great title. I love the imagery. Graceland at last. It's just fantastic. Fantastic.
It's worth a drive to Memphis. I noticed in your comments, we're hearing from people all over the world. You weren't kidding. All over the world. But if y'all ever get to Tennessee, go to Memphis.
Yeah.
First stop, National Civil Rights Museum.
Oh,
Second stop, Graceland.
Yeah, the Civil Rights Museum is built around the Lorraine Motel, where Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated. And they've had a big renovation since the last time I was there. And you know what? We got to go to the Peabody Hotel. We got to see the ducks walk through
Yeah,
the
I've not done that.
lobby. We got to do the thing. You go to the Peabody Hotel, you go to the Civil Rights Museum, and you go to Graceland. And you go
There's
to
so much to do in Memphis,
Sun
but you can
Records.
see some great stuff. And Stax Records is great.
Stax Records and Sun Records. And there's a blues museum that's incredible.
I've been there.
There's
I've
a
been-
lot
yeah.
to do in Memphis.
Right.
Yep. When we can travel again.
And the food.
And the food, soul food, good food. Well, where are we here? Let's go over a little bit.
Sure.
What I'd like to do, I think, is play a song, do a short advertisement for some CDs and stuff, and have you close us out today with one more reading. Are you up for that?
Sure.
I'm going
Sounds
a little
great.
long, but not too long,
Okay.
if that's not a problem for you.
Nope.
Okay,
we'll see you
awesome.
soon.
See you in a second. All right, so a quick word from our sponsor, which is me. You can get every record I've ever made in a box. It's called a bundle, 10 records, and I give it to you for $50, and we'll ship it out Monday. You can order it on my website, and it's a very good box. I guarantee the box. People like the records too, actually. It's my life's work in addition to the book that's coming soon. Okay, we've got vinyl. We've got vinyl. Lots of vinyl. You like LPs? We got vinyl. You can get it on my website. We also have T-shirts. Of course, we have T-shirts. And my T-shirts are a plea for Mercy Now. Small to XXX. Available on my website. Also, tea towels taught to me by the British folks who said you must have tea towels. So I got tea towels. And the tea towel that we have right now is with the lyric of Mercy Now on it. And just quickly, I'll be teaching a songwriting workshop online. It'll be over 5 Saturdays, 2.5 hours every Saturday. There'll be 20 songwriters in the class, and it doesn't matter if you've put a bunch of records out or if you've never written a song. I want to work with you. I want to move you further up your songwriting ladder. And we're 3/4 sold, so there'll be a rush to the finish, and I'm sure it's going to sell out. They've all sold out over the pandemic. So that starts April 10th. It goes for 5 weeks over 5 Saturdays, 2.5 hours each Saturday, starting at 11 a.m. And we'd love to have you.
And you put out a missives this week, too.
I put out a missives
missive.
this week. Yeah. Answered a question about writing songs about family and how tricky that can be. So you can find that on my Facebook and website and
And you can
stuff.
ask you a question.
Oh, yeah, that's right. If you got a question for me, fill out the form on my website. Jaimee will post a link, and I'm taking these questions seriously, using them as writing prompts and answering as many as I can in a short form essay. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. It's fun working with you. It's been a couple years. I hope your songwriting's come along. So I'm going to play a song, and then I'm going to have Margaret Renkl bring us out with another reading. Thank all of you for joining us all these Sundays. My gosh, it's been a much longer than we expected ride, and we're still on it. Next week, we'll have Sam Baker as our guest in the same room in a hotel in Austin because we've all been vaccinated. Then we'll have Ordinary Elephant. Then we'll have Cliff Eberhardt and Louise Moisey. And we need to reschedule John Hyatt, who
We had check on John Hyatt.
we had to check on John Hyatt, see how his rotator cuff's healing up.
Someone, of course, put Memphis in the meantime.
Go to
Baby.
Memphis in the meantime. You know, we might just go to Memphis in the meantime.
Meantime, girl. So good.
Such a good song. Am I in the wrong key? Oh, I'm in the wrong key. This goes out to all of you who are missing someone today. Lord knows I am. May eternity hold you in the hollow of her hand. May a soft wind enfold you as you travel distant lands. May the moon and stars delight you as the daylight dims. Till the morning sun warms your face, till I see you again. May you lay down your struggle beneath the silver sky. May a summer rain inside your dreams sing a lullaby. May there be no more sorrow and no more pain. May you sleep inside the stillness of the night till I see you again. May you never be a stranger. May you never feel alone. May you reunite with family and friends. May they walk you home. May love embrace you in a dance that never ends. May you rest in gentle arms till I see you again. May you rest in gentle arms till I see you again. We're going to let Margaret bring us out today. Thanks for the tips. We're going to share them with the artists that you've seen on the screen today, and we appreciate everyone coming, and we sure appreciate sharing this afternoon with you, Margaret. Gosh, I'm in awe of your ability to use language to express emotion. You are a phenomenal writer. Gosh.
Well, you know, that's exactly how I feel about you. So, and Jaimee, and I just can't wait for your book, Mary. And Jaimee, I can't wait for your new record. And I'm just so grateful to be here with y'all this Sunday afternoon. And I hope you keep doing these, even when you go back on the road, because they're really a gift to all of us, these Sunday afternoons with music.
You.
And
yeah, you know, it's a way of cross-pollinating and introducing people to people. It's really quite fun. So
one of the gifts of the pandemic.
Yeah, it has been, and I'm truly excited for your next book as well.
Thanks.
So we'll let you take us out. Thank you, Margaret.
But I'm going to go back to Late Migrations for this one. It's really short. It's called Holy, Holy, Holy. On the morning after my mother's sudden death, before I was up, someone brought a basket of muffins, good coffee, and a bottle of cream, real cream, unwhipped. Left them at the back door and tiptoed away. I couldn't eat. The smell of coffee turned my stomach, but my head was pounding from all the tears and all the what ifs playing across my mind all night long. And I thought perhaps the cream would make a cup of coffee count as breakfast if I could keep it down. When I poured just a drip of cream into my cup, it erupted into volcanic bubbles in a hot spring, unspooling skeins of bridal lace, fireworks over a dark ocean, stars streaking across the night sky above a silent prairie. And that's how I learned the world would go on. An irreplaceable life had winked out in a moment, but outside my window, the world was flaring up in celebration. Someone was hearing, "It's benign." Someone was saying, "It's a boy." Someone was throwing out her arms and crying, "Thank you, thank you, oh, thank you." Thank you.